What's going on, Colts Nation? I appreciate you joining me for another video where today we're going to talk about one of the rookies that we drafted. We're going to talk about a couple of them today. So make sure you're subscribed with notifications on so you get notified when the other video drops. Start learning about these rookies. But here we are with Anthony Gould, fifth round rookie for the Colts, who got drafted. He's going to be a wide receiver, but also a returner. His dual ability and what he's able to do as a returner is really why he got drafted, right? With the new rules for the kickoff, right? Chris Ballard and Shane Steichen, they've talked about it. Everybody's talked about it with this guy. Like, what he can do as returner is what he's going to be doing. So being able to have somebody explosive come in and be able to have a better opportunity to give us good field position on special teams, that is massive for the team. Like that part of it right there can't be understated, especially with the new rules. They're trying to find ways that they can take advantage of the new rules and find somebody explosive that can make one guy miss. The way these new rules are, like when you really look at it and you think about it, like as close together as everything is, if you can make one guy miss and burst through a hole, then you have a really good chance of being able to have a huge play happen on kickoff. So when you look at Anthony Gould, the thing that I like with him, his 10-yard split is 1.5 seconds. It is so fast. Okay, which means his burst, he can get up and go. Like, there's no two ways about it. He runs a 4.3940, so he can move, man. The only reason his RES is at 8.87 is because of his size. He's 5'8", right? Right about 5'8" and a quarter or so, and 174 pounds. Okay, this guy, he's small. There's no two ways about it. He's small. His hands are 8.875, well below average. Arm length, 29.625. This is a small person. Okay, at least in football terms, this is a small person. I don't mean to make it seem like uh, he's like child size. He's a grown man. Okay, but he's small. In terms of NFL receivers and NFL players, 5'8", 174, 39.5-inch vertical. His broad jump is almost 11. And again, has the speed at 4.3940, the 10-yard split at 1.5, 20-yard split at 2.55. So that extra 10 yards, he's getting even quicker. So Anthony Gould, somebody that I like a lot just from his athletic profile and looking at his athletic profile. But then you look at some of the things that he's able to do. Like, okay, if you look at his college career, this is what we'll do. Look at his college career and look at what he did in 2019. He redshirted. He played in 4 games as a reserve, but had no statistics. In 2020, he played in 4 games as a reserve, had 1 catch for 13 yards. 2021, he played in all 13 games with 3 starts. He had 13 catches, 185 yards, and had 1 receiving touchdown. And then in 2022, ends up being first team All Pac-12 Conference return specialist. He was tied for the FBS lead with 2 punt return touchdowns, played in 10 games with 7 starts, 27 catches, 457 yards, 3 touchdowns receiving, and he ended up with that year 14 punt returns for 256 yards, an average of 18.3 yards. So I had the 18.3 average with 2 punt return touchdowns in 2022, and then 2023 honorable mention All Pac-12 Conference wide receiver. Played in 11 games with 9 starts, had a career high 44 catches, 718 yards, had 2 receiving touchdowns, and this past season, had 7 punt returns for 113 yards, which was a 16.1 yard punt return average. So again, what he can do, his dual ability, what he brings as a wide receiver, but mostly what he brings as a returner is why he's being drafted now. Adding him into the depth of what we have at wide receiver and letting him develop as a wide receiver could be really good. This is somebody that has, again, the physical tools, everything that you want physically other than the size. Again, barely over 5'8", 175 pounds, but everything, he's got explosiveness, he's got the speed, he's obviously got the agility, the way he can move with his size. He's good. He's good at separating. And there are a couple clips. Shout out to Zach Hicks on Twitter. I also believe he's with Locked On Colts. Don't quote me on that, but Zach Hicks on Twitter, somebody that I've followed for a long time, and covers the Colts. And so he posted a couple of clips, or actually quite a few clips, of Anthony Gould and different things that he does. And these long crossing patterns, starting from the outside and crossing across the field. These are ones that I think in the Shane Steichen offense, this is something that he can come in and do. Now, Zach Hicks also mentioned, hey, maybe he can come in and take the Isaiah McKenzie role, which oddly enough, his NFL comparison on NFL.com is Isaiah McKenzie. So coming in, playing that role, and having the explosive ability that he has, again, just bodes well. I think bringing him in, and we talked about yesterday in the depth chart video about how having going into the year, the Colts are probably going to take 6 receivers, right? Michael Pittman Jr., Josh Downs, Alec Pierce, Aston Doolin. Those are the 4 guys from last year that are going to come in, but also the 2 rookies. A.D. Mitchell obviously could be a starter and probably will be a starter by week 1. And then Anthony Gould, who is obviously going to come in, be the return specialist, but keeping 6 wide receivers on the roster is what I think is going to happen. And Anthony Gould could be one of those guys, and I think he has a chance to get snaps on offense in that Isaiah McKenzie role. I think that because you're not going to have Alec Pierce try to fill that role, come in as a backup and fill that role. Ashton Doolin probably not going to come in and fill that role, right? When you have Anthony Gould who can make really good plays with the ball in his hands. Just put the ball in his hands. He makes one guy miss, he has a chance to be gone. So we'll see what happens. Again, this is somebody that if he develops could be really good for the Colts. And it'll be interesting to see, what happens in the future. I was sitting here before I started recording thinking, what if Anthony Gould does develop and is really good, but Josh Downs is really good. They're both kind of slot guys. Anthony Gould does have more experience on the outside, so maybe there's that. But then you have A.D. Mitchell and Michael Pittman Jr. It's a good problem to have. We've needed wide receivers in Indy for a long time, so this is a good problem to have right now for the Colts. That being, being able to have a lot of wide receivers going into the year with possibly 6 wide receivers week to week, really good. We have, Anthony Richardson plus a backup that we feel comfortable with. So, Colts in a really good spot. They didn't go out and get a bunch of guys in free agency, but what they did was re-sign a bunch of guys from their own team that are really good players. And it seems like, at least from everything that I'm seeing, I really like the draft that they had. Everybody that we've talked about so far is going to play a specific role and could be here for a long period of time. So really like what the Colts were able to do in the draft. Again, we're going to continue talking about more people in the draft. We're going to talk about Jalen Carlisle here a little bit later today. So make sure you're subscribed with notifications on so you get notified when that video and all the other videos come out as we continue talking about all the new faces here in Indy. And of course, I appreciate you joining me for another video. And as always, take care of yourself, take care of each other, and go Colts.